everyone. Okay, finally, it's 10 a.m. in the US and 10 p.m. in Singapore. So, wherever you are, good evening and good morning to everyone. Yeah, okay, I saw some of our mentors. Michael, if you want to go to the stage, you can. But if you want to you want to stay there, it's also okay. Hello, hey Luke. Okay, you can come to the stage if you want to. Hello, Aegis. Okay, the dream team of Hedera is here.
How do we?
Internet amazing. Lindsay.
Hey,
Hey.
How do we? Can you hear me?
Okay, hello everyone. So, as we wait for more people to join, I believe there will be more people to join us. I just wanted to give a welcome to our first AMA session. And I'm really glad to have you all here. So, please feel free to explore the space we've designed with you. This is an amazing participant and mentors space for everyone. So, yeah, please enjoy. Well, to help you get started, let's all gather in the center if you want to. So you'll notice that there are two key features that you can see. One is a claw machine and one is a gaming console. So when you go into the claw machine, it will trigger you a link. It will go to the contract builder of Hedera. When you go into the gaming console, it will take you to the Hedera playground. Yep, so these are the two important tools that will help you as you start building your projects on Hedera. And yeah, once again, this central area is also where you can all hear the mentors broadcast during this AMA. So just to share as well, you'll be able to talk to your mentors later. So if you go up just above this stage, right, you will see different rooms. So there were 5 rooms that is dedicated for each track. So whichever track you are in, please go later after the AMA, and then your mentors will also follow there. Yep. Then you can have a conversation with them, of course. And now, if you look over to the left side of your screen, you will see a little link icon. So please go ahead and click that. We placed a few helpful resources there. So first one is the Hedera Origins calendar. So you've been hearing me quite a lot of times if you've been tuning into our workshops or the opening ceremony. I keep on giving this calendar so that it will be easier for everyone to tune in and then just to check what are the upcoming AMAs or workshops around. Yep. Next is the AMA question form. So for the AMA question form, this is for the AMA 2, which will happen and scheduled on Monday, 28th of July, same time, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. So once again, for anyone in Asia, it will be around 9 p.m. or around 10 p.m. our time. Yep. Okay. So, yeah, this AMA question form is a great form for those people who is a bit shy about asking questions live. Yeah, so this form is perfect for you. So just type in your question and your mentors will answer it live during the next AMA. And you can also follow them on the private room as I mentioned a while back. Okay, next is okay. Next is another link that you will see there is the EVM developer. So, what is this EVM developer link? So, this is a very useful resource for those who are developing on a certain EVM. So, if you have deployed Solidity smart contracts on Ethereum or other EVM compatible networks, you can keep using the same developer tools, libraries, and workflows here on Hedera. Next link that is provided there is the SDK link. So this will guide you through building on Hedera using familiar languages like JavaScript and Java. Yeah, you learn how to transfer HBAR, create tokens, and publish messages to topics. Yup. And I guess, yeah, we have a good number here already. Maybe we can proceed on answering some questions that we have received from the form. Okay. Is that okay? Is everyone ready? Type ready if you're ready. I'll start typing. Ready. Okay, thanks, Luke. Yay. Yes. Okay, we're ready. Sure. So the first question we received. For mentors, this is for you. What helped you most when starting your career in AI? How can a junior AI engineer stand out when applying for jobs? I will type it out on the chat so that everyone can see it. Any of our mentors, maybe our mentors for the legacy builders or the AI and agents?
I'm happy to get started. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, very clear.
Excellent. All right. What helped you most when starting your career in AI? Um, I love the question. I think, well, I'm going to start with a general answer, but I think taking action and focusing on what you can learn today is that first step that you want to take, right? You just get started, then also create a little bit of a roadmap for yourself on maybe what are some of the key technologies that you want to learn when it comes to AI, right? Because um, AI is a pretty deep and wide term. It goes much further than just LLMs and agents. I think there's a whole branch of, you know, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning, all that stuff. And so try to maybe develop that initial understanding and that mental model of the entire field, then determine what you want to focus on and what you want to learn. Because maybe you don't want to go down the machine learning path if you don't see opportunities there, or if you don't see key applications there, or maybe you do, right? And so I think it ultimately will be aligning your personal interests, your career direction with what you can learn in that entire field. And so to be more specific about what helped me most, I would say free training courses, free information. That's probably a good first step to develop that mental model and that initial understanding. And then I think today using AI to learn AI is key. I think we all have access to really good large language models through different chatbot platforms. So whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, OpenRouter, or some other platform that you can go ask all these questions from and learn from, I think that's a fantastic first step that you can take today. Now, if you're planning to go deeper into the route of like, okay, I really want to learn about neural networks, reinforcement learning, deep learning, classification algorithms, regression algorithms, I think, I would recommend maybe starting with something like YouTube and then moving further down the curve on something more specialized. I know, for example, like MathWorks, they have free training courses and free training series that are phenomenal. MathWorks, they make this software called MATLAB that is used for multiple things. But then you can also explore, more academic courses if that's the path that you want to take. So very long answer to a very interesting question.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that, Ed. And yes, watch YouTube, take those courses. You'll be on the right track. Yep. The next question we have is here. Okay, I think this is for me. I will answer this for you. Okay, what if there's an overlap between categories? I think our participant is asking particularly to the categories of the track that they wanted to submit or participate in. With that, if you have submitted to multiple tracks, please return to your build page on Dora Hacks. Edit your submission and only select one main track because it was in our policy that you can only participate and submit for one main track. Then, yeah, there shouldn't be no overlap between categories. So each participant is only allowed to submit to one main track only, right? And then if you wish to participate in another track, for example, oh, I really want to develop another one, sure, we can do that with a bounty, which we call dev experience. So after you submit your main track, you will be prompted with a box saying that do you want to submit for this bounty, and that bounty will give you the fields that you will be filling in for the dev experience itself. So it's similar to how you submitted your main track. So yeah, once again, only one main track per team. And if you want to submit another one, you can participate in the bounty. Okay. Another question here. Okay, this is again for me. Do we need to create bill to submit certificate of completion and attach PDF certificate? Uh, the answer to that is no. You don't need to submit a build in order to complete this certificate of completion and to submit for it. So you can simply just submit your entry using this form, which I'm going to paste on our chat. Kindly hold on. Yep. So you don't need to, but of course you'll be more than welcome to submit an entry for a main track or dev track as well. Yep, so this form is available on Hex Hackathon listing. So under the site quest titled Certificate of Completion, you can just easily click that link and then you can submit your form. Or actually, you can just use the form that I provided in this chat. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the more technical one. Uh, all right, mentors, here we go. How does Hedera handle real time data from AI agents?
I'm happy to take an initial stab at this. I don't think I see Jake just yet, who is one of the mentors for the AI track, but we'll give him some time. Um, I would love to hear maybe an expansion on the question to understand what real-time data from AI agents mean, because I mean, I think it's just real-time data in general. Now, I think it's just like any other data that you would try to process on the network. Although typically what we see with data workflows, like for example, if you're trying to write something that relates to data on the network, um, I don't know that writing a massive amount of data is a good approach. Typically, if you're worried about data integrity, it's around hashing, right? Like you can hash the data. That's like the digital fingerprint for your data, and that's what you write on the network. Now, um, you can also choose to put some data on the network, right? And there are many creative approaches that our ecosystem has taken. Like for example, I think it's like HCS1 or HCS3. It's an approach to put picture information and other information on the Hedera network using the Hedera consensus service. So I can send you more information for you to explore that. But I'm kind of rambling here, so I would love to really get that clarification on what you mean by real time data from AI agents. Uh, the other approach, the other side of the coin, rather than trying to write data to the network, is feeding data from the network to your agent. And so there you have multiple possibilities, like for example the REST API, where you can get archival data or historical data from the mirror nodes. You have a REST API that is well documented and accessible to get information about entities like accounts, tokens, contracts, transactions, and so much more, and even more flexible and scalable solutions that are provided by the ecosystem, like the GraphQL API that AgeGraph provides. That again, that's a third party called AgeGraph, um, but that GraphQL API allows you to get uh, really complex uh, queries, from that archival and historical data, and then perhaps that's what your agent can use. Again, I'm not sure if I touched on the particular aspect that you were after with your question.
Yeah,
I'll
if I
pass it
could,
to the mentor if they want to expand on that.
um, yeah, another thing I want to mention is if you're building an agent where you want real-time data from Hedera, we have an MCP server built into the AI Agent Kit SDK, which makes it really, really easy to use natural language to just connect with Hedera services and get things like your balance or find out about tokens or find out about topics, things like that.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Lizzie and Ed. And for that someone who asked it about it, yeah, feel free to expand your question. Maybe you can connect to our mentors here after the AMA in each room, or you can also message them on Discord. Yeah. All right. This one is for our DeFi and tokenization mentors. What are the main advantages of using HTS over traditional ERC standards when building tokenized railroad assets or DeFi primitives?
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Yeah, I think I'll give this one a go. Yes, there's a whole host of reasons really why sort of RWA is better on Hedera. A few examples off the top of my head. The fee certainty. If you're a big organization, you like to forecast how much you're going to be spending. And with the fees being tied to the dollar, that's a huge plus there. Again, operational governance, things like that. So for a big institution as well, who the current validators are on Hedera. You've got Google, IBM, council members. So it just adds another layer of trust. What else is there as well from an energy perspective? Going green, Hedera's transactions are incredibly clean. So again, companies looking for carbon credits and reducing their carbon footprint. Again, Hedera is such a great choice for that.
Yeah, that's well said, Luke. I'll expand a little bit on that answer as well. And I like the way you framed the question, right? Like advantages of HTS over traditional ERCs. I think Luke touched on many of the key points there. But what I would say is maybe even take a step back, right? Like what is the right approach for you? HTS certainly has some advantages, and I think one of the other big ones that relates to your question around DeFi primitives is like a lot. Basically, the entire DeFi ecosystem on Hedera is built on native Hedera tokens. So, if you're looking to integrate with something like Saucer Swap and Bonzo and that existing infrastructure, HTS is going to be a very natural fit for that path. But again, take a step back and then think about what you're trying to build and think about your requirements, right? Because if it's easier to go down the ERC path based on your requirements, that's always available to you. And to this day, like the advantages, they're scalable on both fronts. Whether you go with the native path or with the ERC or EVM based path, honestly, the EVM path is going to be a little bit more limited when it comes to transaction throughput. And probably a little bit more expensive because you do have to spin up the EVM as well. Although if you're not using HTS through the EVM, then maybe it's not as expensive. But the incremental change from HTS to ERC, you start feeling that more at the very high scale use cases. So again, if it's easier for you, if it aligns more with your use case to go ERC, the Hedera technology supports both. And then now the ecosystem also is supporting both a lot better. So you'll be able to access your ERC assets in some of the Hedera native wallets. But probably the key benefit, just to summarize my answer, is around the support in DeFi of the entire ecosystem of HTS tokens.
Hey, can I add something to this as well? So personally, I find HCS very helpful because it also has like these native roles. So you have like KYC keys, freezing, pausing functionality embedded. It gives you a lot of functionality natively, and you don't need any smart contracts. You can just control your token through an SDK or API call. So in that way, getting started with HCS is much easier than getting started with smart contracts, I would say. And you get like Ed said, a bit higher throughput, but it only matters if you're looking for scalability.
Yep. One thing, just to wrap up the answer on tokens and ERCs and HTS, please go to the Hedera contract builder to check out both, right? Like you don't have to install anything or set up anything locally. Just on your browser, you just open a testnet account, and then you'll be able to start deploying ERC tokens on Hedera and HTS tokens on Hedera. And so you can see how easy it is to work with both. You can, even kind of prototype your smart contracts very quickly and then take that to your local environment. But that's a fantastic first stop if you're, trying to work with tokens on Hedera through contracts.
Wonderful. Any of our mentors would want to add on that before we move on to the next question? Okay. Then now I will pay the next question. So this is for sustainability. Uh, okay. How can hold on. Okay, how can developers integrate off-chain environmental data sources like carbon footprints APIs into Hedera Garden workflows in a verifiable and scalable way?
I can answer part of this question. One thing that we saw during another hackathon as well was someone used the Flare data oracles, where you can actually give it like an API source or another source. All of the nodes will call it, and they will aggregate the data on Flare, and then you can bridge this data point through layer zero on Hedera. It's a bit more of a complex use case, but this would be an interesting way to bring any off-chain data on-chain in a trusted manner. But I can't specifically talk about Hedera Guardian. I
I
think
think
Giuseppe is
Giuseppe,
trying to,
yeah,
yeah.
Giuseppe is our guy that will give us a great answer on everything related to the Guardian, but I think he's trying to work out some mic issues on his end.
Okay. Yeah, let's give him some time to fix his microphone. Do we want to proceed to the next question and then we can go back to this question afterwards?
That sounds good. Yeah, let's come back, and then once Giuseppe figures out the mic situation, then for sure we'll revisit the question.
Okay, that's good. Okay. This is for legacy builders. If we're continuing a previous project, how do you recommend we demonstrate technical progression? Should we focus on new features, scalability improvements, or integration with other Hedera services?
I love this question. So I happen to be one of the mentors for that track. Um, demonstrating the technical progression is going to be key. I think if you can maybe in your pitch or in your slide deck highlight, what's new in the commit history for your repository. That's one of the things that we're going to look at, as we filter and judge those submissions. So again, highlighting the cutoff point from the previous hackathon, and then making it clear in that GitHub commit history in your pitch, what's the delta and the improvements that you're making. In terms of what to focus on, I mean, I think ultimately um, we'll leave that up to you, but I would say more than just improving or incorporating Hedera services capabilities, think about what is going to make your solution really compelling to bring it to market. I think, as we bring judges and reviewers to the hackathon, it's really enjoyable when you see a project that is focused on market fit and addressing a real market problem. And so, if you can show technical progression on uh, whether it's scalability, but it helps you address your target market better, or it solves the problem that you're trying to address a lot better, then I think the category doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, ideally, from a selfish perspective, like if you're incorporating maybe new Hedera capabilities, again, not for the sake of improving or incorporating features, but to address the market problem, I think that those are the type of improvements that we would love to see.
Okay, this is a follow-up question that's actually from me, Ed. Uh, Now that you said that it would be great if that legacy builder track would actually work on to the market problem that Hedera is actually facing, can you give at least three major market problems that Hedera has been facing now?
All right, sure. I mean, I'm gonna take a stab at that, and then I'll ask for some input also from my fellow mentors that have a great view into the front lines of everything that's happening in the ecosystem. In terms of market problems that exist that Hedera addresses really well, I'm going to start with a very urgent one, which relates to AI. And with AI, you have multiple issues. For example, data integrity or even authenticity of digital assets now, right? Because how do you know that a digital asset is actually genuine and not forged or produced by AI or modified by AI? So I think outputs from real human work and ensuring that we have a traceable um, record of how genuine that asset is going to be important. Also, ensuring that we have integrity of data for the data that goes into training of AI models is going to be essential. Um, Maybe another interesting one could be around the compensation. And again, I have no idea how to solve this, so I'm just throwing out problems. Some of those might not have feasible solutions just yet. But the other one is, as AI uses human content for its training and for its inference, how are those human creators recognized for the value that they provided in that AI workflow, from the training to the inference? And so I know blockchain could facilitate micropayments and maybe the traceability, but that's a huge gap that we could close. Uh, I have no idea how, so I'll leave that up to the builders. But maybe I'll stop there, but covering the area of AI and inviting maybe some of the other mentors to talk about other verticals. Ajas, Heal, Lindsay, any other problems you might want to market problems that you might want to touch on that where Hedera is a good fit?
I think there's a lot of potential with agents in building agentic workflows in general. When you build an agentic workflow, bring in data from many different sources and places. So solving the problem of coordinating those things, showing where they're coming from. It's not too different from the provenance of where data comes from, but making sort of more transparent workflows. Like, we used this agent and this from Hugging Face, and we used this data source from here, and having all of that on chain could make it really easy for users to evaluate what kind of agent they're using.
I think for the DeFi track as well, tokenization is still like a strong use case using native HTS because we have so many built-in features and compliance controls. We're very good for like these kind of RWA use cases.
All right. Okay, yes. I guess that's really a wonderful sharing so that to our builders here who might be working on a legacy builder or on any other tracks, our mentors have mentioned a couple of tracks that you can work on. And of course, your talent and your skills and your brain is very much welcome into solving this problem. And of course, Hedera is one of the greatest platform and avenue for you to start building, right? Yeah. I just want to check to our sustainability mentor, Giuseppe, how is your microphone looking now? Can you try
Hear me?
talking?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I
Oh,
can.
cool. Sorry for the technical issues. So yeah, probably I was in these three seats that were private, but anyway. So yeah, I sent the long answer in the chat, but essentially we have a lot of documentation on MRV data and how to send MRV data to the Guardian. The overall idea is that you can use the UI. So it depends on who is the signer of the data. So data must be signed by someone. So we cannot have anonymous data. So we can preserve, because we need to preserve accountability for what we see on chain. And so everything must be signed. And especially we use a verifiable credential as a format. So you have three options. The first option is to use the Guardian UI to insert the data, like a normal human would do. And then the Guardian is going to create the verifiable credential, to sign the credential, and to send the credential to the network. The second option is to use the API to receive external already created verifiable credentials. So you need to create the credential yourself or your IT device or what I would say the external service will do. You need to sign the credential, and you need to send that credential to the Guardian, and the Guardian will take care about creating the IPFS file and the Hedera HCS message. Or you can do everything by your own. So you can send directly the message to HCS, the policy HCS topic, and so you can skip completely the Guardian product essentially. This third option, I would say also the second option depends on how the policy is created. So the policy creator decides essentially if you can receive data in all three ways, or all the three ways, or just the first one, the second, and so on. And the policy deployer. So when you deploy the policy, you can decide if you want what it's called like a private workflow that is not technically private, so it's still visible externally, but only specific actors can use that specific policy. Or you can use like it's called a public policy or a decentralized policy. Essentially, everyone that can use its own Guardian instance to send data to the workflow. And this is what usually complex policies want to do. So every stakeholder, like the project developers, the VVB, the platform of the project builders, the registry, and so on, everyone has its own instance, and so they submit data to their own instances. This is good also for scalability, because essentially the data is all stored on IPFS. Better, it is distributed via IPFS, but you can use your own local node for storing the data, or you can use a pinning service, depending. Usually in production, you want to use also a pinning service. But yeah, it scales very well. All the architecture is done in microservice architecture, so you can also scale the single components. So from the UI to the front end to the send to the broker, the database, and so on. And last piece of that information we have, I sent in the chat some link to the documentation. We have many examples, and we also have an MRV sender, that is a container that allows you to create fake data and send already prepared verifiable credential to the Guardian, so you can concentrate on the use case and not on the, I would say, boilerplate of creating MRV data.
Wow, that is a very comprehensive answer. Thank you so much for that, Giuseppe.
Yep.
And yeah, okay, last but not least, this is the last question that we have received on our AMA form. This is for the dev experience check, I guess. Let's go. So this is: how is the impact of improvements to developer resources measured or evaluated during judging? Okay, is user feedback or developer adoption taken into account?
I love that question, and it's very, whoever is asking this question, very deep thought process that you're going into here. So kudos on that. So I think that measuring of that impact of the improvement in a way will come from the expertise that some of the judges of that track already have with working on Hedera, right? I think um, perhaps you also have to build a little bit of the business case for the impact of your improvement. So I think part of the responsibility as a hacker in a hackathon is to pitch the problem that you're facing and the problem that you're trying to solve with whatever your solution is. So I think if the easier you make that for the judges to see that, right, like how severe or frequent the problem is and the impact of your potential solution, then I think that will make the judge's life easier. The judges will have a very good perspective on what's the potential of that improvement, because all the judges on that track are expert developers in a way with Hedera technologies and the Hedera experience. And then in terms of quantification with user feedback and dev adoption, perhaps due to the constrained timeline of the judging period, maybe that won't be the case. But again, we could always cross-reference what you're proposing as the improvement with other feedback that we've heard, doing business as usual And then if you're actually addressing a very significant frequent problem, then I think that's going to be another point to quantify the impact of your improvement.
Great, great, wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Ed. And yeah, what a great question. I hope you will submit your submission for the dev experience, and then we'll take a look at it. Yeah, exciting. So I think that's the last question that we have, as I mentioned. Now, this is the most exciting part, and I guess all our participants are also looking forward to this. We still have at least 20 more minutes into finishing it around 11 a.m. But you can now go, all our mentors. I would like to invite you to go to each of the meeting rooms above. So it depends on the tracks that you are handling. You can go inside so that our participants who wanted to interact with you personally, either to chat you or to talk to you, can go inside and then you can start to have a chat. But make sure that for the participant, you need to sign in so that you're able to interact with your mentor inside the private room. Yep. Okay, so you can either chat them, you can also talk to them if you're okay with that. But then again, I would also want to invite everyone on Discord. You can continue messaging your mentors there. Again, under the mentor assistance channel, it will be easier for you to connect to them. But yes, of course, please feel free to use this platform. We call it Zap Space, and which is very Hedera, right? It's a wonderful design. Thanks so much for our creative team for doing this up. And once again, we do this with our participant and mentors in mind. I hope that you enjoy this space. This space is available throughout the event, so this doesn't close. If you want this to be a rendezvous for this hackathon, feel free to do so. It doesn't close. You can meet all your like-minded hackers here, or if you have any session with your mentors, you can also do that here. Yeah. Okay, I will leave everyone to go into each room. So you can go to have a coffee chat as well in some of the rooms here. You can follow our mentors and then have a chat with them. Okay, now I shall mute myself and I will allow everyone to just go around the space, click around, look at the gaming console, and go to the uh, contract builder. And yeah, all the links that have been provided there is a very great avenue for you for your resources in this hackathon. Okay, go, go, go talk to your mentors inside the meeting rooms.